Across the bay lies the town of GALLE. It's situated on the southern coast of Sri Lanka. For my visit, I'm using my trusty Lonely Planet guide, and I'm following the walking route around the town that it provides. Our tour starts at the clock tower, built by the British in 1882, and there's a bit of local history portrayed at its base. We will be following the wall around the fort. This is the main gate, pushed through the existing wall by the British in 1873. Lighthouse Street runs right through the centre of the old town. We'll find many remembrances of the British colonial period as we move around the town. The fortifications have a long history, first being started by the Portuguese who arrived in 1502. They were further expanded by the Dutch East India Company, which captured the town in 1640. Several bastions have been built around the wall. This is the Sun Bastion, with its defences looking out over the harbour and the new town. Back inside the wall, and a rural setting, as we move along Church Street to view the Dutch Reformed Church. The church was originally built in 1640, but this reconstruction dates from the mid-1700s. There are two organs in the church, with one dating from 1760. The floor is paved with a number of gravestones from the old Dutch cemetery, the earliest of which comes from 1662. Memorials on the wall come from the British colonial period. Also located on Church Street is the old library built by the British in 1832. Dating from 1901, the bell tower is used for tsunami warnings. This Anglican church was built around 1870. Still providing accommodation and activities is the Ymca. This 19th century commercial building housed the Lloyd offices, and it still retains the shipping notice board. There are several theories for the origin of the town's name. One theory is that the name GALLE comes from the old Dutch word for rooster, and here it is as the town symbol on the old Dutch governor's house. Moving along the walls, we come to the old gate, and we spot the Dutch East India Company shield above this entrance. Moving through the gate, we can see how thick the wall actually is. On the outer side of the wall we see the construction date, but above it is placed the later British shield. Just along from the old gate is Court Square. The square is surrounded by different courts and legal offices. My visit to the square coincided with a long, heavy tropical downpour, which I found damp but interesting. With the rain over, it was time to move on and dry out, and that meant a visit to the nearby Dutch Hospital shopping centre. Once a hospital for plague victims, this is now an upmarket shopping centre. Next morning I returned to Court Square, and despite the no parking sign, I find the square just full of vehicles. There were crowds waiting outside the lower court, while the district court had a busy procession of gowned lawyers. There were numerous legal officers across the square, each one clearly indicating their particular skills. But what is an unofficial magistrate? And is he a justice of the peace or a justice of the place? Adjoining a corner of the square is Swart Bastion. It is thought to be of Portuguese origin and dating from 1580. The walking guide suggests a swim at Lighthouse Beach, but I've carried on to the lighthouse itself, surely the most photographed object in the whole of GALLE. Although there have been previous lighthouses in the area, this imposing 18-metre structure was only built in 1938. From the distance, the building across the road from the lighthouse looked like a church, but it's actually Miran Mosque. From the top of the defensive wall we get good views down surrounding streets, narrow, colourful and interesting. Approaching Flag Rock, and in the area there have been many shipwrecks over the centuries. But in modern times it seems to be the diving spot for crazy jumpers. GALLE has a very long history. Some experts suggest that GALLE was the ancient biblical city of Tarshish, and that's where King Solomon got his ivory and peacocks and other precious objects from. From 1400 BC, Sri Lanka was famous for its export of cinnamon, and GALLE may have been the main export port. After the guidebook's diversion into surrounding streets and past this Buddhist stupa and temple, we come back to the coastal area, where we pass this modern mausoleum. The path takes us along the top of the fortifications, past a couple more bastions, until we reach Star Bastion. Star Bastion was used by the Dutch as a prison and slave quarters, but today it gives good views over the surrounding new town. And now in the distance we see the clock tower, which marks the end of our walking tour of GALLE. But there is one more unexpected attraction to see before we reach our destination. GALLE is the largest remaining fortress built by European colonists in the whole of Southeast Asia, and so no wonder it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.